What's up everyone, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video, and today we are talking about Clawitzer. Now, this Pokemon is actually pretty cool. It has a really cool ability that gives it 50% additional damage for all of its Pulse and Aura moves. So moves like, Water Pulse, Terrain Pulse, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, a whole bunch of random moves that this Pokemon gets an additional 50% on, which is really cool. And it's cool because they're all special attacking, and this Pokemon is special attacking, and it's actually really cool how they designed this Pokemon. Anyway, let's talk about it. So, water typing, mono water typing is pretty good. 2 weaknesses, 4 resistances, pretty solid typing, nothing really weird about that. And then for its stats, let's talk about the stats. So, overall, not very bulky in general. I mean, 71 HP is whatever, it's fine. Then defense and special defense at 88 and 89 respectively is actually pretty solid. So, the Pokemon isn't unbelievably squishy, but it will definitely be taken out by a max move of super effective stab. So, not super bulky, but not too bad actually. And then as far as offense goes, attack 73 is really bad, but that's fine because we're not using physical attack. Special attack at 120, very solid. Like I said, all of your moves already get an additional 50%, so it works really well with that. You stack that plus stab plus mega launcher plus the attack's base power, of course, things like life orb, choice specs, and you just stack a bunch of buffs and hit really hard with this Pokemon. That's pretty much what you do. Its speed is at 59, so it works pretty well under a Trick Room setting or on a team where, there's options of Trick Room or, even Tailwind. This Pokemon could work under Tailwind, so, pretty cool stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to the VGC set itself. So, as far as VGC goes, we were running Mega Launcher, of course, its signature ability, and then Life Orb as well to give it 30% extra damage, 1.3 times damage. Very, very good to have. It gives you the flexibility to Dynamax if you have to, or just not Dynamax and then have an additional 30% plus your 50% for Mega Launcher and just stack buffs, which is really what you want to be doing with Clawitzer. As far as our moves go, I did use Water Pulse, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, and Protect. I do like having Protect on this team, but of course if you change out choice specs or the Assault Vest, then you'll have to switch out Protect, but still, pretty good stuff. Speaking of other items, there are a lot of other items that you can use. I like Life Orb because it gives us the ability to Dynamax if we need to, and it also just gives us always that constant 30% extra damage. But you could also go with choice specs, then you're pretty much locked to not Dynamaxing. Obviously you still can, but then you'll lose your item. And but 50% is a lot of damage, especially since this Pokemon kind of wants to not Dynamax anyway. So choice specs could be really good. I did value Protect a lot on this Pokemon though, so you can switch it out if you want to. Same with Assault Vest. If you can't use Protect, but if you really want that extra special defense, it's pretty good. And then we ran we also show Expert Belt here, which just gives you an extra 20% damage on all super effective attacks. And since we have a very, very diverse move pool filled with a bunch of coverage moves, Expert Belt works really well on Pokemon like this. So yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, into the moves, we played Water Pulse, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, and Protect. 1 stab, 1 protect, and then 2 different moves that take advantage of Mega Launcher, as well as just good coverage moves in our meta. We have Aura Sphere for things like PZ. We have the Dark Pulse for things like Dusclops. So it works out pretty well. It's a pretty solid move set. Next, we have some other options for our attacks. So first off, Terrain Pulse. This move is really good, but it did get very, very nerfed with the loss of Rillaboom and Indeedee. Terrain Pulse made it really, really strong and gave you some really, really unique things that Clawitzer can do. Now we only really have Misty Terrain and Pincochin for electric terrain, so we really only have 2 terrains now. So it makes Clawitzer not really care about Terrain Pulse that much. Obviously max moves still use it, and it might be the target of max overgrowth sometime or something like that, and then you can use Terrain Pulse, but whatever, we can't really use it. Dragon Pulse is another option. It's not stab, but it gets the Mega Launcher buff, which is kind of cool. We have Aqua Jet, which is good. It's just priority, but it is physical, so it's not going to be doing a lot of damage, but it hits things like Sash, Sash Urshifu or something, so that's really good. Next we have Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam is actually very solid on this Pokemon. Being able to max strike is very, very cool, and it's, you know, super effective. It does a lot of damage, so that's another option as well. And then we have Ice Beam and Icy Wind. Ice Beam just for another coverage move, you know, a big max move of Hailstorm could be good under the correct circumstance. And then we also have Icy Wind, which is good for just lowering you know, speed, but it's not a very fast Pokemon, Clawitzer, so, you know, whatever. As far as our EVs go, you know, our spread is pretty basic. It's just 252 into HP, 252 into special attack, and then 4 into defense. Putting our leftover 4 into defense. We went with Modest Nature, giving us plus attack, or plus special attack minus regular attack, just so that we can do the most amount of damage. We just want to be doing the most damage with Clawitzer. So, you know, 252 special attack plus Modest, plus Life Orb, Mega Launcher, Stab. It's a lot of damage. You can do a lot of damage with this guy. And also stack like Helping Hand and stuff. So, you know, it can be pretty strong. So that's about it for our VGC set, our build. Let's go ahead and talk about these two synergetic Pokemon down here in the bottom right corner. First off, we have Alolan Marowak. Honestly, we're just saying, you know, Trick Room in general for this Pokemon. It likes it. I mean, it's very slow. Speed base 59 is really slow. So, you know, things like Gothitelle, you know, Dusclops, the obvious Trick Room setters can work well with Clawitzer. And then just like Trick Room Pokemon in general, that's why I put down the Alolan Marowak. It was the first Trick Room Pokemon that I thought of. So, yeah. Next we have Pinkerchin, Pinkerchin, whatever you call it. I pronounce it differently every time. I don't really know why. I just do it. But yeah, Pinkerchin, you know, it can set terrain, which is really cool. It works well under Trick Room. You know, it covers Clawitzer pretty well. So it's a pretty cool Pokemon, a good synergy. So I just added that. Mostly for the terrain, for Terrain Pulse, but because I really want to still use Terrain Pulse because I feel like that's just such a good move, and Clawitzer is probably the best Terrain Pulse user because of Mega Launcher. So yeah. Anyway, that is going to be it for the VGC build and this slide in general. Let's go ahead and talk about some speed tiers. So as far as speed tiers go, you know, a lot of the Pokemon that are in the meta just like kind of fell off. Not many were in this speed tier. Most were like faster. We do have a couple of things like Tyranitar that were randomly like right where I would put them right here on this list. But, you know, for right now, we do have a lot of Pokemon that are still good and are in this speed tier. Like, you know, this pretty low to mid to low to mid, you know, which is pretty good. So, here we are at 79, right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the screens. Clawitzer at 79, not bad, not that good. You know, we outspeed a lot of Pokemon, like Trick Room Pokemon, so if you're up against a hard Trick Room team, you want to deny Trick Room. You know, things like Scrafty, that's not really on a hard Trick Room team, but everything below is, you know, Conkeldurr, Gastrodon, Clefairy, Mudsdale. You just want to deny Trick Room around those teams that are taking advantage of those Pokemon. There's things like Rhyperior, you know, Hatterene, Reuniclus, Snorlax, a whole bunch of Pokemon under you that you're going to just want to control the speed for, and yeah, it works pretty well. Pokemon above us that are outspeeding us, Jellicent, Sylveon, Lapras, Grimmsnarl, all outspeed us just barely. You may see a couple of those at 0 speed with like a Trick Room setting, so that could happen. And then Alcremie is the last one I have here on top. There's not a lot of Pokemon in between here in like that like 130 150 range, so yeah, there's not really a lot of point into putting some speed into it. I mean, you can outspeed these guys like the Jellicent, Sylveon, Lapras Pokemon, but you know, it's whatever. I feel like I've said it's whatever and so many times in this. Weird. Anyway, that is going to be it for our speed tiers. Let's go ahead and talk about some damage calcs real quick. So, this Pokemon does a lot of damage. You know, all of these are non-Dynamaxed. Some have Helping Hand. They all have Life Orb. It does pretty good damage. So, let's go ahead and talk about it. So, offensive, Calc here, Mega Launcher, Life Orb, Max Investment, Modest, with Helping Hand, Water Pulse. Every buff we can possibly get, pretty much. Into a Dynamax Charizard, we are hitting 114.7 to 135.9%, which is a guaranteed OHKO, into a Dynamax or Gigantamax Charizard, which is a very, very good calc to have. Now, obviously, you know, Rain, or not Rain, you know, Charizard likes to be in the sun a lot, so if there's sun up, then this will be a different calc, much different, but, you know, it's a good calc to have. Next, we have the same buffs, all of them with Helping Hand, Life Orb, Mega Launcher, all of that stuff. Aura Sphere into Porygon Z, hitting 109 to 128, which is very good calc to have once again. Of course, Porygon Z does OHKO us. Look down at the next calc here. We have a defensive calc against Porygon Z. Porygon Z Hyper Beam into our Clawitzer hits 141 to 167. Now, obviously, we have like Protect, and then they have to recharge for a Hyper Beam turn, but they're usually not going to be Hyper Beaming unless it's after their max. So, if they max, they're taking us out. Like, there's nothing really we can say. I mean, obviously, Protect doesn't, and then also if you Dynamax, you live. But if you Dynamax, then you lose the buff from Mega Launcher, and then we're just like a pretty normal Pokemon with not amazing stats. So, yeah. Next, we have another offensive calc, Mega Launcher, Dark Pulse into the Eviolite Dusclops. This is the most common spread on Pikalytics right now. 252 HP, 164 plus special defense. We are hitting 55 to 65, which is a guaranteed 2 AKO, which is very strong. And with Helping Hand, we hit about like 90%, which is really good, but still not there, which is good. Even if even at max, that was a max calc. Next, we have Serena Power Whip into our Clawitzer. Not Dynamax, hitting 132 to 156. Once again, you can Dynamax to dodge this OHKO, but, then you have, like, a mediocre Dynamax mon, like I was saying, so maybe. Next, we have Rotom Wash Thunderbolt. This is the most common spread on Pikalytics for Rotom Wash. 76 special attack into our Clawitzer. Hits 71 to 85, which is not enough to kill us, but if it uses any kind of buff, Life Orb, Helping Hand, if it uses Nasty Plot, or if it just has like full investment into attack, choice specs, anything like that, they will be taking that knockout, which sucks, but whatever. You realize that it's not an absurdly bulky Pokemon, so super effective like attacks from really strong Pokemon is just gonna take it out. All right, next we have Single Spotlight. So let's talk about Single Spotlight for this Pokemon real quick before I end the video. Now, Single Spotlight, I don't expect to see Clawitzer much in singles. It doesn't really do anything like additional than mini Pokemon. Choice Specs is good with Mega Launcher, like you deal a lot of damage, but you're going to be locked. All of them are still good moves though. Water Pulse, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere getting that 50% buff from Mega Launcher and then 50% buff from Choice Specs. You can dish out a lot of damage with this Pokemon, but it doesn't do anything too insane. 120 base special attack is good, but it's not like ridiculous, but Mega Launcher does make it pretty solid. Yeah, for our EVs, we just went into special attack and speed instead of special attack and HP, just so that we can do as much damage as fast as possible. Clawitzer wants to be attacking as soon as possible, so make it fast, makes sense. Anyway, that is going to be it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. In sum up, Clawitzer is pretty cool. It has some really cool stuff. I really like its ability, Mega Launcher, making, usually weak Pokemon, or usually weak attacks, pretty strong, actually, and dish out a lot of damage, which is really cool. So I like Clawitzer. It's a cool Pokemon. Anyway, that is going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Join me on Discord. Do all of those things. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.